Hey family, I hope you're doing well. Um, in follow-up to my last announcement in my previous video, I just wanted to kind of share with you specifically what I want to go into studying a little bit more about the programs, so that you guys have a little bit more of an idea of why this is a great opportunity and why I'm really excited about it. So the MTH, or the Masters in Applied Theology, is specifically geared towards students in the program taking theology and applying it to a contemporary, very specific contemporary issue. So there is a wide range of ways that you can approach this, so many different kinds of theses or and dissertation directions that you can go with the program. It is very much self-taught. It's not an instructed course. I think from what I understand, I'll only have one lecture a week that I'll actually be attending, and then the rest of the time it's really up to me how I research and the kind of direction that I take my papers in. And that also is dependent upon my favor with different tutors and supervisors for my papers. So the path that I want to take specifically is the pastoral psychology route. That's looking at, and for me specifically, I would like to look at how psychology and theology can inform one another as disciplines, and then apply it to a very specific contemporary issue that I'm very passionate about. So in my, research proposal, when I sent in my application in March, I kind of talked about this concept of psychology and theology, and I wasn't quite sure how to land it, because I knew I wanted to study how these two disciplines can help us better counsel people that have gone through issues such as molestation, rape, those kinds of situations, very serious situations, and how we can better help mentor people, and how we can better counsel people through those kinds of situations in a way that is Christ-centered, but also informed by the psychology of those kinds of issues. And I wasn't quite, I knew I wanted to talk about that, but it's still such a broad topic. I thought maybe we can apply it specifically within the context of Puerto Rico, since that was something, Puerto Rican theology was something I wanted to look into as well. So, it's kind of disconnected, kind of disjointed, still, developing. And then I remember going to dinner with some friends of mine, Karen and Martin Mannion, that live here in the UK, such a beautiful couple. I remember them taking me out to dinner, and they were sharing with me that some representatives from these non-for-profit organizations came to talk about their organizations at their church. And they were representatives from companies, or not companies, representatives from organizations that were working to help with sex trafficking, slavery, human trafficking, things of that nature. So they were just sharing with me some of the things that were brought up, the different things that these organizations are doing. And I just felt, in the course of that conversation, God just speaks so clearly and brings such clarity and focus, and say, this is how I want you to apply those little strands that you were looking at. This is the focus that I'm giving you. I want you to focus on this issue. And so if things go as I hope and as I pray, and I would appreciate your prayers in this as well, because the favor of tutors being able to, and agreeing to overseeing my papers and things like that, is a big part of me being able to do specific kinds of research. But I would love to study how we can take theology, psychology, and help people in the rehabilitation process that are coming out of these kinds of situations, like slavery, human trafficking, sex trafficking, prostitution, those kinds of things. And just see how we can do that better as the church, how we can use the theology and psychology to help people that are coming out of these situations. Because the church is doing a great job of raising awareness and bringing about legislation and trying to bring about convictions of human traffickers, so that, the problem doesn't continue, and actually bringing people out of those situations. And so I would want to focus my study on how, once people are taken out of that situation, how can we help them rehabilitate and become self-sufficient, independent members of society, members of the church body, so that they don't fall back into poverty or potentially back into the situations that they were saved from. So it's not a light subject, obviously, but I would appreciate your prayers as I make that my focus the next 2 years in study, and that God would give me favor with the right people, that God would bring the information and the necessary resources for me to really be able to study this and come out with something that's actually helpful and practical that can be used potentially. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. That's been something really big on my heart for these next 2 years of study. And things may change. God may bring more clarity or more direction, and I might have to narrow my focus even further, because even that is a huge undertaking and a very wide subject range. But I would appreciate your prayers and me going forward in that direction of study. Also, that He would provide the funds so that I can actually study these next 2 years. That the visa application process would go well without a hitch. And all the other little details that need to happen between now and September. So really appreciate you guys taking time to pray for me, and I'm excited to continue sharing this journey with you guys. So have a great week.